So that 5 factorial is the same thing as 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, or you literally type it in your calculator and you get 120. Without that sign, which of course you have to use the one you're supposed to be using, the one we've used all year is the only one that you're going to be permitted to use on the final. The permutation given a certain amount at a time, that P53, is n factorial over n minus r factorial. So this would be 5 over 5 minus 3, or 2 factorial. And then if you break it down, these would cancel, and I'd get 5 times 4 times 3, which is 60. So it can be done without a calculator, but it's not going to be fun. The combination taken a certain amount of time is n factorial over n minus r factorial times r factorial. So it would be 5 factorial, 5 minus 3 factorial times 3 factorial. 5 over 5 factorial. 2 factorial, 3 factorial. And then the easiest way to do it is 5, 4, 3 factorial. Line up the 3 factorials, break down the 2 and the 1. And then the 3 factorials cancel out. 2 goes into 4 twice, and this is 10. So it can be done without a calculator, which is why nothing will be lent out, okay? But it will definitely be a lot harder. The second slide had 7 crayons placed in a box, 1 each color of the rainbow, which we established is 7 crayons because of Roy G. Biv. 1 crayon is selected. What's the probability that that crayon is not red or yellow? So you can do this 2 ways. Figure out how many are not red or yellow, which would be orange, green, blue, indigo, violet, 5 out of 7. Or you could have counted how many were red and yellow, which is 2 out of the 7, and subtract it from 1. So you'd still get 5 out of 7. So that's using the complement to find it. Sometimes it's easier if there are more things that you don't want than what you do, then it's easier to do it that way. Next one said you roll a 6-sided die. What's the probability you roll a 3 or an odd number? These are ones where you can do them as or statements, because I can do the probability that it's 3 or is and, probability that it's odd, minus the probability that it is both 3 and odd. So this is a overlapping probability. So the probability that it's 3 would be 1 out of 6. The probability that it's odd is how many? 3 out of 6, good. And then how many are both 3 and odd? 1 out of 6. So it basically cancels that back out, 3 out of 6 or 1/2. You could also have counted in this case how many were odd, but not 3 or odd, which is still 1, 3, and 6. So you could have done it either way. These are countable, I would say. This one says you flip a coin and choose a card from a standard deck of 52 cards. What's the probability you'll get tails and a face card? You gotta wait. Then so the tails, I'm gonna figure out the probability that it's tails, and then the probability that it's a face card. For the ands, we're gonna multiply, and you have to figure out if this is dependent or independent, right? Does one impact the other? So are these dependent or independent? Independent. Flipping the coin has nothing to do with pulling the face card, so I'm just going to multiply them. What's the probability of getting tails if you flip the coin? 1/2. And what's the probability of getting a face card?
It's 12 over 52.
Good.
3 over 13.
Good. 3 out of 26. And if it asks you to give it in decimal form, 3 divided by 26 would be 11 or 0.115, so 0.12. If it asks for it in percent, 11.5%. So it's multiple choice. It's only going to be one of those ways. I think, if I remember correctly, all the probability are in fraction form. You just got to simplify it. Questions? So from here on out, you're working on your packet. It is one packet. So the final exam review packet. Huh? No. It is long. Okay? I would do this piece by piece. So we have now covered all the topics that are on your test. We went with the very beginning was the circles. No. First we started with similar triangles. Then we went right triangles. We worked backwards. Then in order of the actual chapters came circles. Then comes surface area and volume. Then comes probability. There are a lot of questions on that packet. You do not need to do all the different types. Like if you get to the right triangles and it's a 30, 60, 90 triangle and you're really confident, you don't have to do all 8 30, 60, 90, or all 3 30, 60, 90 triangles, okay? It is up to you. My advice would be to go through the entire packet and at least maybe do all the evens or do all the odds so that you cover all of them. And I would do that starting today. So if you are taking this exam, I see you tomorrow and I see you Friday, that's it, and then you take your exam. My advice would be to do all the odds by Friday. You can get tomorrow in class to work on it. You'll do it at home a little bit. You'll get Friday in class to work on it. And that way you can ask questions. Then maybe over the weekend, go back and work on the ones that you know you need the extra practice with. Maybe go back and do the evens of these, okay? But I would say by end of class, Friday, so that you can ask questions while you work. You want to complete this. Start it tonight. Do whatever is the hardest to you because those are the ones you need the most help with, okay? Skip around if you want, okay? And again, start with the odds and then we'll go back to the evens for extra practice. I'm going to let you work on it in class tomorrow and I'm going to let you work on it in class on Friday.